Oh, right. What's up, Wolfden? Let me know that you can hear me. I'm at my desk. I'm not sitting at the fancy studio. It's on the other side of the wall to my right here. So we got about a minute before we're scheduled. So as you get on here, just drop a comment. Let me know. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you can hear me. All that fun stuff. Just so that I don't ramble forever and find out there's an audio issue or something like that. So I will wait for a comment or a chat. You can just drop it. Live chat, loud and clear. Cool. All right, we'll give about one more minute here, maybe two, for people to drop on. I'm just looking at our Astro pools here. They look great. I'll explain some of this to you guys today in today's session. We're going to start doing this once I am not too lazy to use the actual studio, which is literally 10 feet away from me. We'll do this almost daily, not quite daily. Right now, we just launched. A lot of guys were part of the launch. It was great. Huge benefits, a lot of excitement. The downside of the launch is it's all about the launch going well, meaning the chart going well. And if we're focused on, getting shilling in the Telegram and stuff, then we're not educating, or it becomes difficult to educate. So we're going to really focus on shifting towards not chart watching, but educating. Because once you understand what I'm about to teach you, I think, or what I'm about to share with you, I think you'll understand why the price of Guardian or Wolfies day to day doesn't really matter. It's just a frame shift from buying and selling, right? I'll give you this real quick before we start, just conceptually. You have, let's say, if any of you have Robinhood, right? You might pull up a stock, let's say Microsoft or Google or Apple or Tesla, right? Tesla, people always go like, what is Tesla stock? Right? Or actually, really nobody says that because we know what's going on. It's similar when you're investing in a real project in crypto. Okay, what I mean is people are like buying and they're saying, what does this token do? And it's like saying, just like buying stock in Tesla or Google early on and being like, what does this stock do? Right? The stock doesn't do anything. It just represents the value of something. Google does something. Microsoft does something. Tesla does something. And it's all very, very different. What you have just represents a share, sometimes governance, right? Shareholders can vote, stuff like that. So conceptually, real projects have a really difficult time in this space, the meme coin space, the crypto space, because people just look at it as if they're day trading stocks, which is perfectly fine, right? But who made more money? Serious question. Who makes more money? The person trying to scalp some Microsoft every day, or the person that invested in it on day 2 or 3 and just held it because they understood what was going on? There's no right or wrong. Just understand what these things represent. So do me a favor, if you're here, I see you guys creeping in. We'll get started. I'm going to show you a little bit about the yield and the farming and how to make exponentially more money in crypto while you sleep without stressing out about it. So what you can do is you just hit the like button for me. I don't know if that shows up on here anywhere, but hit the like button for me. Testing this software. Push the like on the YouTube, and we're going to talk a little bit about yield, generating yield and farming, and give you some perspective into what it looks like. So yesterday, our Astro pools launched on Astronaut, right? And immediately people are like, what do I do now? I staked it. What do I do now? Do I sell it? Where can I put it? Yada, yada, yada. And step 1 is slow down, okay? You can't bring a moonshot, buy, sell, ready, fire, a mindset into something that is built to compound, right? So Warren Buffett says, and everybody else that's been successful in investing, the time in the market beats timing the market. So you got to slow down. Worst case, you stake something, and we have a video on how to stake something. You stake something, and it's just okay to wait a couple days. It's going to take some time for this yield to really compound, right? But where else in the world do you get 22%, 287%, 304%, 149%? Where else in the world does that happen? Nowhere. So if you just stake, which we'll talk about, if you just stake and do nothing, right? 149%. Compare that to the 0.01% you get in your bank account, right? I'm not making a crypto versus fiat argument. I'm just making a, pay attention to your own behavior argument. Even if it just gets, and there's scenarios where this isn't true, and I'll break that down for you. Even if you just let it sit and collect your thoughts and go to the beach and spend time with your family, you are still winning. You're still winning, okay? So that's step one. I want you to understand that. Because I'm going to show you some strategies. Don't want everybody aping into all of this stuff before they understand it. And some of it doesn't even exist yet, and I'll explain why. Right? Of course, this is not financial advice. NFA, not financial advice. I'm just a guy. I'm on YouTube. I'm going to draw some pictures, and I'm going to talk over those pictures, and it's all for fun. Don't listen to me. You'll end up living in a down by the river. I heard somebody say that one time. Thought it was funny. Not financial advice. Okay? Just education. I'm just sharing my perspective and things that I have seen and things that I have heard and observed over time. Okay? So here's the frame shift going into this whole staking and farming. The first is function over form. Function over form. That means we need to stop thinking in terms of tools, right? I'll give you an example. Business owners do this all the time. When you get a couch delivered from IKEA and you got to put it together, right? And the whole purpose, what you are supposed to do that day is put that couch together. It's really easy to start going, this would be easier if I had a screwdriver. So you drive to Home Depot, you get a screwdriver, but then there's like 5 different screwdrivers. So now you're like, I got to get the best one. You spend 2 or 3 hours doing all this homework on screwdrivers. And then eventually you sit there and you realize, I could get like an electric one. Maybe I should just get a drill, with like interchangeable stuff. You just get so obsessed over the tools that the couch never gets built. Or it takes you exponentially longer and you spend way more money and time necessary than building the effing couch. Okay? So function over form is a reorientation toward what am I trying to accomplish? Stop getting so caught up in how it has to happen, what tools you need. Because that's where people are chasing the moonshots. They're just staring at charts all day, looking for the next moonshot. And the reality is, by the time that you identify what the next moonshot is, it's probably already gone. So you're going to buy in at the top. Right? So just, if you hear me say function over form, or you think to yourself, this is just using the assets around you, the tools in your toolbox to achieve what you want to achieve, not getting obsessed over having a shinier hammer, right? The whole point of the Wolfden is to help you get what you want out of life. And one of the most powerful toolboxes is cryptocurrency right now. Okay? And if you know how to use that, you can achieve the things that you want to achieve much faster and probably much safer if you know what you're doing. This is not fiat. It's all about crypto. I have the belief I want more crypto than fiat for sure, but you don't have to have that belief. This is a toolbox, and if you obsess over the tools, right? I only go Ethereum, and I go moonshots, and just ignoring all of the other tools in the toolbox. Like you're focused on function. You're focused on form over function. You want to hit the next Dogecoin, right? That's not the right thing to be aiming for, in my opinion. Why do you want to hit the next Dogecoin? Because you want to retire and buy a Ferrari and spend more time with your family. Whatever it is, right? then we have to keep reorienting towards, given the tools at my disposal, what is the fastest, safest, most reliable way to retire and spend more time with my family. Trying to find the next Dogecoin is form over function. It's a very stupid game to play, right? Continually surveying the land, trying to find a more efficient path to get what you want, and understanding the new tools pop up every day, and you might have to readjust the tool that you're using. That's what smart people do, right? They adjust given the real world evidence and the tools at hand. So what is the fastest way? Look around. What's the fastest way to build this couch? That's all I want to know, right? I could use a screwdriver, but I don't have one. Is there another tool I could use? Ooh, this will actually work better. It's all about getting the outcome that we want, right? And part of that, this is the hardest part in crypto, is thinking in assets over dollar value. Assets over dollar value. Everybody is so stuck on dollar value that they're just emotional wrecks all the time, right? So when I first started buying Tesla, I didn't care what the price was. I wish I would have bought it lower. But I said, okay, I have a belief in Elon Musk, and I've talked about this before. You don't have to share that belief. I want as much Tesla stock as possible. I was thinking in terms of acquiring an asset. I didn't look at it every day and see if it's up or down or up or down. I said, I want as much of this asset as possible. Recently, I just sold a bunch of that asset to buy Bitcoin, and it was a ton. The US dollar value was exponentially more than what I paid for it. Right? Because I had a belief and I acquired an asset. You cannot look at US dollar value all the time. That's how people get wrecked in the market. Because it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. The question is, what are the assets that you want and what do they grant you? An example, Costco card. Do you want a Costco card? Well, if you want to shop at Costco, you have a family and you like the bulk deals, you need a Costco card. Right? The value of that Costco card after you purchase it doesn't really matter because you need it for access. If you want to keep shopping at Costco, you got to have a Costco card. The US dollar value of that Costco card is irrelevant except for when you make the decision to buy it. Can you imagine if you're sitting around watching on Dex Tools, Costco card cost, stressing out about it every day? But there's no point because the purpose of the Costco card is access into Costco, so you could buy their shit, right? So we got to think in assets. What do these assets do? What are they worth? Why do I want them? And when I say what do I worth, I mean, what do they afford me? Do they give me access? Do they give me status? Do they help me sleep well at night? Bogged finance, Dex Tools. You hold Dex Tools so you have access to their features. If you want access to their features, the price of Dex Tools doesn't actually matter. Right? Bogged finance has lots of cool things like stop losses and limit orders and stuff like that. But if you want to use those, you have to be holding bogged. So if a stop loss helps you sleep well at night, who cares what the cost of bog is? It's going to save you so much more than what you pay by having a stop loss in place and selling for you while you sleep. Right? So it's function over form, assets over dollar value. I'm not saying dollar value doesn't matter. I'll show you in a minute. You got to decide when it matters. Right? So if you want to stack yield on top of yield, on top of yield, on top of yield, and basically just go as complicated as you want, you have to know what you're trying to accomplish. It's the question, what am I trying to accomplish here? What am I trying to accomplish? If your goal in life is to find the next Dogecoin, that's fine. It's a weird goal. Most people want to find the next Dogecoin because they have financial goals and they think that's the tool, but they're focused on the tool, right? It's a big mistake because they miss all of the other efficient paths forward. What do I want more of? What do I want or what do I want more of? I'll give you an example. I want higher allocations for astronaut IDOs. I want higher allocations for meme pad IDOs. Right? That's something, it grants me something that I want. The status and higher allocation. What do I want access to? Very similar question, right? What are the things that I want access to? The Wolfden membership, for example. You want access to Alpha Wolf, you want access to Dire Wolf, you want access to our team, then who cares what the price of the token is or the coin is if you get the access, right? It's weird that people will pay $10,000 for access, but they won't hold $3,000 worth of tokens. And it's because of the mentality. They're not thinking about it appropriately, right? To pay $10,000 to get access to something, but not be willing to hold $3,000 of a coin because the price is fluctuating means that your mental math, you are violating your own economic and personal principles somewhere. Because you would pay $10,000 for this, but because you spent $3,000 for the token to get access, and if the price tanks to the ground, you want to sell it or you panic, then you are violating your own economic, your personal economic principles, right? Because if you would pay $10,000 for this, after thinking about it, then your personal economic principles suggest you would pay $10,000 for it. So why the hell are you looking at the chart? Things to think about, right? This is why people don't get what they want. It's right there in front of them a lot of times. They just violate their own principles by not being able to zoom out and think function over form. What is my time preference? Right? What is my time preference? If you need to triple your money by the end of the day today, or you can't feed your family, well, you probably shouldn't be. You're not going to get that in farming or staking. You might be looking for a moonshot. That's a really bad place to be. But you got to know your time preference. Do I need some money now and a lot later? Do I need a lot in a shorter term time period, or do I just not really need money at this moment? So I'm just going to keep compounding it to millions of dollars. Right. So these are things that you have to know. We're going to help you with that in the Wolfden. I'm going to put out a lot of content about that to help you discern what that is, and the Certainty app is built for that. But these are the questions that you have to sit down and answer. Otherwise, you're just going to keep chasing green candles and trying to do what everybody else does. Doesn't matter what everybody else does. What I want more of may not be what you want more of. If that is the case, then copying me is definitely not the most efficient path forward for you. So, again, harp on this a little bit. Does price matter? Not always. It's really hard because you want to watch the charts and you ever next Dogecoin. And first of all, if you study all those, they were all super volatile. Bunch of people hate themselves for selling Bitcoin or Dogecoin or Ethereum, right? So does price matter day to day? No, not always. Over a long period of time, still not always. For example, Astronaut. Access to private IDOs. I don't care if Astronaut goes down to zero. I really don't. As long as I still get access to their IDOs and allocation, because I make a lot of money on those IDOs. For those of you that were in the Guardian pre-sale, typically you would have to have 1,500 NOT in order to get into that. Now they're changing some stuff, so their next two IDOs don't require NOT. But imagine if the only way to get in Wolfie's or Guardian pre-sale was to be holding NOT. Does it really matter what the price of Astronaut is? It doesn't to me. MemePad, same idea. Cake, Pancake's governance token. If you have a strategy, Cake, I don't care the price of Cake because Cake unlocks other things. Banana, that's ApeSwap's token, unlocks other things. Wolfies, that's access to us. As we start moving out of the Wolfnot, as we start moving out of the Telegram, meaning me specifically, as support, right? The only way to get access to real-time conversation and inside over-the-shoulder look and stuff like that is going to be access to the Wolfden, the different tiers in the Wolfden. Now, this may not be for the people here, but in the real world, with real fiat dollars, people will pay 60 to 100 grand for that access. Okay, which means if you get access for holding Wolfies, do you really care what the price of Wolfie? Wolfies could be 0.0000000 as long as you get, but if they give you access, the right people that have the priorities that we're serving, they're not going to care. Ethereum. The price of Ethereum doesn't matter. It might to you because you were thinking about it, Goofy, as like a long or short-term investment. But Ethereum doesn't really matter that much. You're not going to dump your Ethereum if you do transactions on the Ethereum network. You need it. And if you want to participate in liquidity pools, you're going to need Ethereum to pair. BNB, same thing. The price of BNB doesn't really matter. Obviously, if you think of it as an investment and you're trying to just use BNB, like you invest in BNB hoping that it turns into more money, that's fine. It's a weird strategy, but you still need BNB on the Binance chain. You cannot run transactions without it. You cannot provide liquidity to the highest yielding pools without it. Right? So it's very helpful to think, I don't keep a lot of BNB in my wallet. I just keep enough to make sure that I can fuel my transactions. But I will always have BNB in my wallet as long as I'm on Binance Smart Chain, and so will all of you. So these are all things we don't have to. If we have a decent strategy, we don't have to watch the price of any of these things ever until we're done. Okay, I'm done with crypto. I'm done farming. And then you want to sell it all. Hopefully that makes sense. Right, here's things that if you bake them into your strategy, you never have to look at the chart. You can if you want. But to see Astronaut go down in price, it could go down 90%. I don't care. It's like if Costco cards somehow had a chart and it went down by 80%. I don't care because I still want to go to Costco. I save so much money by shopping at Costco that I don't care what the card is worth while it's in my wallet. Doesn't matter. Right? So that's function over form again. So I'm just trying to reorient you a little bit. Now, sometimes price does matter. Here's some things that we like. BitCrush. If you're from Astronaut, then you know BitCrush. I like BitCrush. I actually hold BitCrush. But right now, BitCrush doesn't have a ton of opportunity outside of generating more BitCrush. So in this case, same with Twin. I think they're both phenomenal projects. But we got to watch the price because BitCrush pools, for the most part, are going to pay you in BitCrush. Twin is going to pay you in Twin. And there's not a lot of ways to prevent the sell pressure. The sell pressure being you stake a bunch of BitCrush, you get a bunch of free BitCrush. You can't do anything with it because their platform's not functional yet. So you sell it, which means you got a lot of sells with no buys. Right, so until we can do something with this BitCrush, which I still hoard it because I know eventually we will be able to do something with it. But in the short term, both BitCrush and Twin, you got to watch the price a little bit, right? And there's thousands of assets like this. I'm just showing you the difference because Twin gives you insane APY here, right? 1.31 million%. I just staked this morning, right? But let me get my slide back up here. The problem is it spits out a bunch of Twin. People don't know what to do with that Twin, so they sell it. And you can triple the amount of Twin that you have, 300%, but the price can be a tenth of what it was. So if you don't have something to do with this asset that will generate more assets, then you got to watch the price in order to stay profitable. So if you want to stake BitCrush or Twin in order to make money, profit in the short term, you got to watch the price. Okay, banana and cake. If you don't have a strategy, they're the same way. Single staking pools without a strategy. If you stake not for not, and there's no strategy, all you can do is turn around and sell not. Anybody else that, if all not holders were doing that, it would tank the price. And since you don't know what to do with not, if you're not using it for IDOs, then you got to watch the price. If you're using it for IDOs, the price doesn't matter. Does that make sense? Just drop in the comments. Let me know that it makes sense. That like, does this asset have a function? If yes, the price doesn't matter nearly as much as you think. If it does not have a function outside of sell for profit, then the price matters. a lot of times we can make the price irrelevant. I'll show you how. And hopefully this is making sense. Man, we got a good, somebody left a good Astro Wolf comment or something, then deleted it. So does the price matter? It depends. It depends. But you cannot go exponential thinking in terms of single asset pricing. You cannot. You may get a Dogecoin, but here's the truth. Most of the people that were early on Dogecoin sold after it did 10x. They never got they never recognized the huge 1,000, 10,000, whatever it did. Aren't we just racing for yield, never to sell? I don't know what that question means. Ask that again, and I'll try to answer it. So I'll show you the you can't go exponential thinking in terms of single asset pricing. You can double your money in some time, which is awesome, right? But it still depends a lot on the market. You can double the amount of Ethereum you have, and Ethereum can be worth half as much. So when you convert it to US dollars, you got the same amount of US dollars, right? Yep, it does. Down big time, holding for IDOs and farms. Yeah. Yep, it's a function. You don't have to, when people come into Astronaut, because obviously I'm in that group, and they're like, why'd the price go down? It tells me they don't understand the function of the asset, which is fine. There's going to be people like that, but we know those people are probably not going to make much money in crypto. They're all in the same Telegram groups, and they're all complaining about stuff because they don't understand the function. Just think about, you want pools and you want to turn around and sell it for profit. How does that work if that is the only function of the token? It would tank the price. If nobody understood the function, everybody would just go yield until the price was zero. At some point, the token needs to be sold for profit. Yeah, I'm going to show you. It just depends on, just like stocks, right? The people that made tens of millions of dollars when they invested in Google don't have that mindset because it's just a given. The people going, ooh, I better sell this while it's still at the top, or have a very short time preference, and that's okay. They just make less money. Otherwise, we just kept farming asset on top of asset. That's not true. I'll give you an example. If I stake my Guardian for more Guardian, and this is complicated because I already did the math. If I stake my Guardian, I put the Guardian liquidity pool, and I get NOT, right? And I get enough NOT to get an allocation, which most people won't have because they don't have enough NOT to get an allocation. I would participate in that IDO. I'd be one of the few people to get in the IDO because of my allocation. Probably pay in BUSD because that's what NOT does. And I can go 3, 4, 5x on that. Take whatever profit I want. Right? So if it's access, so for example, I'll give you one more example. In the Dire Wolf tier of our Wolfden membership, and we only take 1 or 2 people a month in. I think I made, if anybody's in Dire Wolf, let me know. I think I made 3 calls this month. And I said, hey guys, I just got a tip on this. Not financial advice, high risk. But here it is. In most of them, actually I think in all of them, I was one of the first 10 holders. I told our Dire Wolf tier, and they all, on Ethereum, the Ethereum network, they went about 8 to 10x in a matter of minutes. Okay. So I put in, one of our Dire Wolf members, I think, made 8 Ethereum in 45 minutes. Okay. The only way you have access to Dire Wolf is by holding Wolfies and paying a cost, right? So you have to understand, what does this give me access to and how do I use it? They didn't have to turn around and sell their Wolfies. The price of the Wolfies didn't matter either. They got access to a call of something that I was pretty certain in, but it was high risk because the contract wasn't verified and we were first 10 holders. Right? So again, in this example, somebody made 8 Ethereum, which is what, 16 grand in 45 minutes, because they had access to something. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, a whole bunch of people might go, yeah, I'd rather sell my Wolfies, and that's okay. You can get your 2 or 3 BNB profit. What you're going to miss is the access to the more reliable, a little bit, I don't say more reliable, a little bit higher risk, higher upside stuff. Right? So, yeah, I'll show you too. There's a point where you want to stop stacking yield because there's no point, right? We need some level of reliability. Brovin says he's a dire wolf that got all those calls right at the beginning of the rise. Yep. So, if I could use an example, I won't share too much. Brovin is dire wolf. He holds a ton of Wolfies. And if he followed the calls, which there's no obligation to, then he probably made a ton of money. And probably doesn't care about the price of Wolfies right now. As long as he gets access, as long as he maintains access. Right? So this is where you have to understand the ecosystem. You kind of have to understand, like, what do I want? Do I want this level of access to inside information? Do I want allocation in IDOs? Do I just want to make, this is one of mine, if I make 1 BNB a day passively from farming, and then I exchange it for Bitcoin, so I buy $300 of Bitcoin a day, just from farming and yield and stuff like that, and I don't always get there, so sometimes I'll go in a pre-sale just to make up the difference. Brovin says I don't even know what the price of Wolfies is. Exactly. So here's the other thing I'll tell you, because I want to show you some examples. The reason I'm not worried about the price of Wolfies or Guardian in the short or in the long term is because the way that you drive a price up is not get more people to buy it, because if more people buy it and they think the only thing to do with it is sell it, it'll keep suppressing the price. Right? I'm not worried about the price because we're going to make the price of Wolfies, and I know Astronaut's doing it with It's Not an Alien. Dex Tools has done this to an extent. Bogged Finance has done this to an extent. Ethereum, right? The price is irrelevant because in order to do the thing I want to do, I need to have this asset. When the price is irrelevant, when people stop looking at the chart in order to get a profit, the price of the asset will skyrocket because people will refuse to sell because they don't want to lose access to the thing, right? So you have to know what you want. You have to know your time preference. And Diago Oak, I'll show you some examples because there's absolutely ways. In the short term, it might be short-term yielding is tough though because the prices of the assets fluctuate. So you could win huge, and you can also just get in a spot where you generate a bunch of assets, but the US dollar value is the same, or the BNB value is the same. You have to make less moves. Biggest mistake I see people making is in our Discord or Telegram. They're like, now what do I do? Now where do I put this? Now what do I do? And like, again, time in the market beats timing in the market. It's very similar. The less moves you make, the better, especially because transactions have a cost, especially on Ethereum, right? But transactions have a cost. So if we could step back and make less moves, anybody that is sitting in the Guardian LP or the Guardian pool, printing Guardian, going, oh, what do I do with this? I would just let it accumulate. You can compound it if you want. You can claim it and then put it back in, but I would just let it accumulate. Okay. So here's an example. Here is a short-sighted and cannibalistic farming strategy. These are the people that don't understand why they aren't wealthy, why they can't get wealthy, and they're beholden to the price. Every time I buy something, the price goes down. Which, I understand, but it's just a short-sighted way of thinking. So you could buy Guardian, you could stake it for more Guardian, and you could sell that Guardian. Right? Or you could buy Guardian, stake that Guardian, get more Guardian, compound compound it again and just keep compounding it until you're getting enough every day to be worth selling. However, a few things. One, you're beholden to the price of Guardian in a short time period, right? Meaning like if it dips 20% and you've only made 15% on the yield, then like you're still at a loss. And if this is your strategy and everybody's thinking this way, you just create a sell pressure. Everybody's selling Guardian, nobody's buying it because they're printing it for free. Very short-sighted here. It's probably not even worth yielding here unless you have a ton. Okay, so that's the way a lot of people think about it. That's what single staking is. When people say, where's the pools? That's what they're doing. And they can't figure out, why did MemePad go down? Why did Astronaut go down? Well, because all of you never took time to understand the value and what it provides. So you're just trying to stake it and sell it. Yeah. Now, here is an example of a simple strategy if you know what you want. Let's say you want access. You want to be in the direwolf tier in our membership area, or you want galaxy allocation in not. You could provide LP for Guardian, right? Which is right here, Guard LP pool. And it'll spit out Guard. Now what you could do is you could keep compounding this, right? You could add to the LP, get more Guard, add to the LP, get more Guard, get to the LP, right? You could just keep doing that for a while. It would lay a really strong foundation, so the amount of Guard you're getting increases. You're protecting. This is the smarter move because you're also protecting your own asset. The more Guardian LP, the less the price is going to fluctuate, right? And then you could take this Guardian that you're getting for free, and you could stake it or provide LP for another asset like not. Now here's the thing: you're getting this not or these wolfies for access. You could sell them as well, but let's say you're getting them for access. Here's what happens over time. This is earning fees on transactions, and it is spitting out Guardian. Okay, so you own these assets in the LP, and they're growing. You're getting Guardian, which you now own. You can stake that Guardian, and this is still going, right? This is still running. You're getting more. You compound this. This compounds. You stake it here to earn, let's say, not. Okay. You now, even though the short-term thinkers are going to be like, whoa, what about my profit? Like, you are acquiring assets. This is what wealthy people do because you own everything in this LP and it's growing. You own this asset still, right? Even when you stake it here, you own this asset. And you're generating this asset that you now own. If you do this, you own Guard, you print Guard, you sell Guard. At the end of the day, you own just your original Guardian, right? Wealth is always about accumulating assets. If you do it this way, you own the Guard and the BNB here. You own this asset here that's being printed, an additional Guard. You stake it, and now you're getting ownership of an access token, not Wolfies. You can just earn your way into the highest tier of anything you want. And you don't pay for it because you still own these assets, right? You didn't sell these assets. You didn't trade them. You still owed them. Hopefully that makes sense, right? This is how people accumulate FU money in crypto. It's very rarely the moonshots. It's this strategic accumulation of assets, right? Now you earn access. This gives you access to IDOs. This gives you access to different tiers in the Wolfden. Bogged finance, DEX tools. It gives you access to features on their platform. And you didn't have to pay for them. Right? This is where people are missing is they're like, oh, I want that. I'm going to pay for it. And they turn around, they use it, and they turn around and they sell it. Sometimes at a loss. Oh, I want that. I'm going to pay for it. And they sell it. Small gain or a loss. And they end up in the same place, right? Because they're just buying and selling single assets. So hopefully that makes sense, right? This is very, very simple. Guardian LP, not LP, any LP, really. Let me show you just a quick example. You could, I wonder if not is still on here. There you go. You could put not BNB into ApeSwap, and it'll spit out their token, which is banana. And it's a question mark, but that's just because of the amount they pay in banana. You could take that banana and you could earn any of these things. Maybe you want some twin finance, right? So you have your original LP, which is not in BNB. It's printing banana. You take that banana that you now own, you stake it here. Look, you get more not, and you get more not. The thing is, at the end of the day, you're accumulating all of these assets. Okay? And you still own them all. You're not buying and selling and trading. You still own the BNB and the NOT in the liquidity pool. You still own this banana, and you own the NOT that you are getting for free. You can compound it, or you could sell the whatever. Right? But we're accumulating assets. Assets that pump and dump and pump and dump, and who cares? Because one asset unlocks another. So next time it pumps, I'll have like 15 or 16 assets that I believe in, instead of trying to buy and sell a single one and catch a pump. Okay? So that's what it looks like. Now, this is on ApeSwap. I could take a twin and go over to Twin Finance, right? And stake the twin here and get more twin. And you see how it gets really confusing, which is why we're trying to pull it all into one ecosystem for you. Okay. But hopefully that makes sense. The concept of acquiring assets for free. Like, you just do this and sit back and you manage it. Like, you might have to compound it manually, where you withdraw your Guardian and then you put more in the LP once a day. But we're earning free assets. And if we know what we want, we get access to all the things that we want. Instead of going, someday I'll be able to pay for, this tier in the Wolfden. You just set up a system to get it for free. Right? Yep, you stake until tier is desired reached, and then what you already own can switch to the next access token. That's exactly it. You can systematically just acquire the things that you want. Right? Now, sure, you could go right here and you can sell the NOT. It's fine. Sell the Wolfies. You still earned free assets, which is why time preference matters. Right? If you need money tomorrow, this system's not going to work. But unfortunately, I'm not so sure there is something that you can do to guarantee money tomorrow. So you might want to adjust your time preference. So here's the shorter. This will be available right on the Astro platform. You could provide LP to Guardian, print Guardian. We can take this Guardian and stake it for NOT, and you could sell the NOT. I already talked to Dr. Knott about telling him I would share this with you guys. Okay. It's a very simple one right there. Stake for NOT. You can sell half your NOT. You want to keep some so that you can accumulate access levels? That's fine. But you see how you just systematically get what you want? You're all trying to catch a moonshot so you can pay for what you want. And you don't have to. Because you keep losing your ass on the moonshot anyway. Right? So hopefully that makes sense. We have a video on how to add LP. It's unlisted on YouTube, but it's in the Wolfden Discord. So all right, so here's a question, and I'll address this later because this is a much deeper question. I still don't understand in which moment we bridge to real life. Let's say I want to buy land, how to proceed. The answer is, and this is what the Certainty app does, our whole methodology, is you have to have a realistic timeline. How much is the land going to cost, and what is an acceptable time frame, right? If the land's going to be $200,000 and worst case scenario, you'd be okay with 10 years, then you can back into all of this. I can tell you right now that trying to sell shitcoins for profit is not going to get you land if it's single stake, unless you get really lucky, right? So if you know you have 10 years to generate $200,000 specifically for land, you can back into all of the solutions that you need, right? You say, okay, I need this much money extra per month by this time frame, which means I can build this strategy, right? And it'll compound, and you can just do some relatively basic math to figure out at what point. But turning it into US dollar at this point is probably the longer you can wait to turn it into fiat, the better, in my opinion. And we don't know that you won't be able to pay for land in crypto in 10 years. Right? So I do want to grow in tiers with Wolfies, but I also want to create passive income. Yeah, that's great. You can do that. I'll help you with that. I'm just conceptually, I need you to understand. I'm trying to help you understand the function over form. We'll get in the details later. Not today. Okay. So what I would do is figure out what you want. Figure out a time frame that's appropriate. Not the best case scenario. I know you all want to retire tomorrow, but what is the time frame that if this happened, I could still live with myself? You start there. You get clarity on how to get there. You build a system that creates certainty, clarity, certainty. And then the last one is once you have that certainty, you can collapse time. Once you lock in, if you build this system and you're on track to get what you want in 10 years, you can then leave this relatively on autopilot and start taking moonshots. And it won't matter if you lose because you got this on autopilot. But if you win, we collapse time. You see how that works? Clarity first, certainty second, collapsing time third. I can take outrageous moonshots, and I do. And some of my companies, not just crypto, because I already have the certainty piece locked in. I'm gonna retire on my 40th birthday. If things go anywhere close to the way they're going, I don't need the moonshot, so I can take it. We never robbed from Peter to pay Paul either. I never robbed from this system. I never robbed from my certainty system to pay my collapsing time system. Right? So I've locked in a worst case scenario that's acceptable. Without that, and then this is where people lose in Bitcoin, without having that, you're just going to panic sell. Got to turn this back into fiat, right? And if you want more fiat, why are you in crypto? It's another question. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. Just say you gotta kind of reconcile all of these conflicting beliefs in order to do something that doesn't have you chasing your tail around. All right. Here's another thing you could do. This is similar to mine, and I'll break down mine in detail in some of the tiers, but it's changing because we're trying to pull it all into one or two platforms because I have to go to like 8 platforms to compound my my returns. You go Guardian LP, spits out Guardian. You take that Guardian. You can put some back in the LP if you want. You put some here, but let's say you stake it for knot. Okay? And then you can sell half that knot. Percentages are up to you. This is just an example. You sell half that knot. So you have half knot, half BNB, which you could put into the knot LP. The knot LP turns around, spits out Guardian. So here is what's happening. You're getting more Guardian that you own. You're getting more BNB because remember the LP is made up of Guardian BNB. You get even more Guardian, which gets you more Astronaut. Even if you sell half of it here, you're still net positive. And you get more BNB, which is earning fees, right? And you can get a nice little flywheel here and killing a lot of birds with one stone. Okay? You're getting access to IDOs in time. You're accumulating BNB. You're accumulating Astronaut, again, Access IDOs. You're accumulating Guardian. We'll show you what to do with Guardian. Guardian's going to be a really powerful access tool, but we got to get over the launch and all that stuff. That's a really simple system. And the reason this is not what I do right now, because I have enough Astronaut to, I'm at the highest tier right now until they release a new one. But this whole entire thing, look at this, can be done on one platform. Right, so there's less clicking around. We just got to provide LP on PancakeSwap. Okay. So you cannot stake guard to earn not right now. It's in the works. Right, but that's okay. We don't need to. Less moves is better. So you see how you can create a flywheel here, which is, if you know what you want, if you want as much money as possible, as much US dollars tomorrow as possible, I don't know what to tell you. It's a guessing game. But if you want to acquire as many assets as possible, so you're in a very, very strong position, and you know what you want in life, 4 years, I want to make sure my wife never has to work again. 5 years, I want to pay off my mortgage. 10 years, I want to retire. If you know that, you can lock that in crypto at a much faster rate than in fiat, right? If you don't know what you want, that's probably why you're running around chasing green candles. That's probably why when you look up, you're like, man, I was up so much, but now I'm down. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So here's an example. On Binance Smart Chain, I asked my team, because I do want our team that's working very hard to make profit. There are no team tokens. None of us. I don't even have. I didn't get any free tokens, and so we do things to generate profit. And I said, hey team, what do you want to get paid in? Because they all understand this to an extent. Some of them understand it better than I do, right? What do you want to get paid in? Primary. Wolfies. I'm not paying my team in Wolfies because we're not going to profit by dumping on you guys. Guardian. Same thing. Not going to pay in Guardian. BNB. Based on what I believe, and again, you might want to wait so you can see it fully. And what I believe is, or what I know is coming, these are the things that I would acquire the most of. Wolfie's Guardian, BNB. Because that whole clarity piece we talked about, that's the most important piece, you're going to get by being a Wolfie's holder. We're going to help you with that. And without that, I don't think anything works. That certainty piece, how to build this custom system based on your priorities and your timelines, you're going to get that as a holder, right? So in my opinion, obviously biased, in my opinion, this is the primary objective. Right? And BNB you need for, it's a currency, it's how you pay for stuff. You need it for transactions. And if the liquidity pool, if LP is part of your strategy, you need BNB to pair with the other asset. Right? Again, without the clarity and the certainty, you may as well just flip a coin. Right? The problem is, if it's heads, you make some money. If it's tails, you lose your ass. So the asymmetry is definitely to the downside. Secondary. So if you have a strategy, this is what they ask for. Overwhelmingly, Bunny was actually up here, but I'll tell you why. Secondarily, they said, we want more knot, we want more banana, we want more cake. That's what our team wants. And we've all been working together on building these strategies. Not banana cake, right? If you have if there's a strategy, because not gives you access, banana and cake print other assets. The reason being, if ApeSwap rewards you with bananas, how does it prevent you from selling the banana? It creates a pool where you can stake your banana instead of sell it in order to get other stuff. Same with cake. That's the pancake version. So they want more knot, more banana, more cake, more bunny. Everybody wants more bunny. The reason it's tertiary here is Bunny had a flash crash and a hack, and then it's Matic contemporary. There's Polybunny. Polybunny just had a flash crash and a hack. So Bunny's not something I would put a lot into, but I do on a macro level. I acquire Bunny and Twin, same reason. I love Twin as a project, but their yields are so high. There's a sell pressure, and they have been hacked. I don't think anybody. I had assets on Twin when they were hacked, and all of the stuff was safe. Like there wasn't much risk, but just lost the assets, and they reached out and paid me back. So it's not a knock on them. They've been phenomenal. It's just Bunny and Twin don't represent acquiring new assets. Bunny gets you more Bunny, Twin gets you more Twin. So the price of Bunny and the price of Twin actually do matter. Whereas a lot of these strategies, the price of the asset can be made irrelevant. Right? So hopefully that gives you a little bit different perspective. Different way of thinking about it, but this is how it works. How can you talk to wealthy people and they say, well, how can I use this asset in the real world? How can I use my real estate to acquire another asset? And then can I use that to acquire another asset? And then at the end of 30 years or 40 years, the real world moves much slower than crypto. You look up and they're 40, 50, 60 years old, and they own millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars of assets. Right? And so just another example, I yield all of this, or I yield what I yield, and then I flop it into Bitcoin, $300 of Bitcoin a day. Not a ton, but it adds up pretty quick. And Bitcoin, I have a belief about where Bitcoin is going. I can borrow fiat right now. I could go in and I could borrow $50,000 from myself against my Bitcoin. Right? So that's just about understanding strategy. So, when do I turn it into fiat? Like, if you really know what you're trying to accomplish, you know how things work. I can never turn it into fiat. I can keep turning it into Bitcoin, borrow against my Bitcoin, and pay back myself. So, hopefully that's helpful. I'll get into the details. I just really want you to consider thinking about stacking assets. That's what wealthy people do. The beautiful thing about crypto is people get wealthy in the real world over decades. It can happen in months in crypto. It's hyper accelerated. But everybody's so busy. If this is your plan, very, very simple. This one or this one or this one, right? But you're sitting here watching the Guardian price every day, freaking out. You're watching the APRs on this fluctuate, you're freaking out. You're watching the NOT price and you're freaking out. You don't have a strategy. There's no synergy in what you're doing. And not only do you have to win, you have to get lucky and win. You have to win fucking huge to make up for your losses if you don't have a synergistic strategy and understand what some of these projects do. Right. Hopefully it's helpful. We're gonna play some games later. We're gonna do some giveaways. It'll be short. It'll be fun, and it'll be mostly in the Telegram. We'll probably do Telegram chat. All the links should be in the description of this video. I'll go back and clean it up, make sure that the links make sense. And I'll see you guys in the Telegram and in the Wolfden Discord shortly.